My background is an adult educator. That's where I got my doctorate in adult education back in the 1980s at the University of Toronto. I've been teaching adults most of my life. I started with a boys ministry called Christian Service Brigade, and for 10 years in BC and Alberta, I trained the leaders, some 700 leaders in 150 churches, on how to do the program, how to work with boys. And it was a great 10-year program. Then after that, I went back and got my doctorate in adult education, came out to Trinity Western University and began teaching there in 1982, and did that full-time for 8 years, part-time for another 12. And then while I was there part-time, I began teaching overseas, and that's where the Lord opened up a whole opportunity overseas to train adults. We were teaching the Theology of Persecution and Discipleship course to pastors in Sri Lanka. And in Sri Lanka, there was persecution going on from the Buddhists to the Christians. They didn't want Christian to be grown. Christianity was about 7% of the population. Islam was about 7%. And then Hindu was about 15%. And then the rest of the population was Buddhist. And the Christians were always going out to plant churches in Buddhist territory as evangelists. And so this one pastor was at the seminar, and he was watching the video of a soldier in Sri Lanka, a Muslim soldier who accepted Christ, had a secret desire to study the Bible, was discovered reading the Bible on the army base. They took him in, interrogated, and just beat the stuffings out of him. But he refused to recant his faith in Christ. So they tied him in what's called the helicopter position, where you're down on your stomach, your feet are brought up at the back, your arms are brought up from the front, and they're tied together. And you're left lying on the ground with your face in the dirt, but your hands and your feet are tied over your back. And he was in that position for days and days and refused to accept any offers from the military of what they would do for him if he recanted. The pastor watched this, and he was struck by it. He went home, and when he got to his church that Sunday, a mob of about 80 Buddhists invaded his church building, came up to the front and started beating up the parishioners, and he was the pastor, and they started punching him in the face. They took the cross off the wall, broke the cross, and took a piece of the cross and swung at his father. He put his arm out to protect his father. They broke his arm. I went to see him after this event happened, and he said to me, "Jim, all the time I was being beaten, I had an image in my head of Gideon in Eritrea suffering for his faith, and I thought, it's happening to me. It's happening to me." And he said, "Your course helped me prepare for the fact that when it comes, I don't have to be afraid." And he said, "I had no fear. Pain, yes, no fear." At Missions Fest about 2014, Paul Esterbrooks and I knew we were both going to be retiring. And so we did a scout around and went to 4 different booths at Missions Fest that operated CRA-approved charitable status for societies. And we talked to Gary Jansen, and Gary was very helpful in getting us established to say, here's what ICMS, or International Christian Mission Services, can do, and here's how we benefit. So we joined ICMS in May of 2015. Go Teach Global is thankful for International Christian Mission Services leadership in helping us achieve our goals by us being accountable to them for the funding and for the receiving and for the oversight of our ministry. So we're grateful for International Christian Mission Services.